Good afternoon, traders. Russell Sandiford here for your daily market scan for easyMarkets. There's certainly no shortage of action here in the overnight markets. Firstly, let's start with the big stuff. So this morning, the FOMC in the US obviously stood on their current policy, and that didn't do a great deal to shake up the US dollar tin too much there. The biggest story, of course, is the Trump nomination for the new Fed chair to be Powell. Jerome Powell is much of the same, similar theory and I guess the ideals around the US dollar outlook as Janet Yellen. So that was always going to be somewhat stocks positive, US stocks positive, and US dollar soft or US dollar neutral. In my view, I've been going on about that all week on the easymarkets.com.au website. So if you ever get a bit lost with your trading, jump to that website and check out the daily analysis there. But look, that's done and that's finished. The focus now shifts to the two big things coming tonight, 11 p.m. Sydney, is the sterling. The UK Bank of England likely to move on interest rates, likely to lift interest rates by 25 basis points. Very, very well telegraphed move though. So the cable chart, the sterling against the greenback chart that I've got on screen, that's a 4 hour that I've got on screen. Basically battling with the 133 handle leading into this all-important Bank of England press conference, which is at 11:30. So bear in mind that's where you're going to see the big volatility. Don't expect to have a cup of tea and watch your sterling chart and it moves sideways if you're watching that press conference. It's not how it will play out. I think what we'll see is a jolt to 134 and then potentially some US dollar covering coming in, dragging the sterling back to earth and back lower to where is hard to say. It really does depend, as always, if we get Bank of England Carney's press conference talking about one and done, meaning one rate hike and that's it, or if he hints or signals a continuation like in the US of potentially more on the calendar for next year. That's the sterling. The other big stuff that's rolling through in terms of the news wires and scheduled events, of course, is the US tax reform story is very big. I can see the door being open for the US dollar disappointment on this one. So I love dollar yen to get back down to 112 or thereabouts. It's about 114 as we speak, just 5 or 10 pips below. So I'm favoring a fade of the US dollar. I like that against the trend. Now, I did come in this morning and see Nomura and a lot of the banks, including Nomura, Goldman, all putting out massive forecasts for the other big headline event, guys, which is your non-farm payrolls on Friday. Again, that's an ominous sign for me. Whenever we expect massive numbers, 310, 340, 350,000 new jobs added. Again, look, it's a solid estimate, but it does also very much leave that door ajar for a US dollar disappointment. It's a hard one to speculate on. Now, last night the interim numbers were pretty good. So the ADP US dollar payroll, US payroll interim details were pretty solid. So that is what lifted dollar yen off the canvas and got it from lows yesterday at 113 up to all the way up to 114.20. Before some pullback, some profit taking kicked in. Other news, of course, guys, if you missed it earlier today on the Asian Open, the Aussie trade balance was a pretty good beat of estimates. That was enough of an excuse to see the Aussie lift. It's now at 77.15. I think it'll run out of steam around 77.30. Now, look, generally speaking, today in the market on the Asian Open, everything was going great against the US dollar. So the US dollar had a little soft touch and a little pullback. Not discounting this dollar CAD move is an interesting one. That's another one that will be wildly volatile over the last part of this week, particularly with the non-farm payroll data to come. The euro came alive earlier today, jumped up to that 1670. It has been asleep most of this week, so that is going to be an interesting way to play this week if you want to get involved on the euro. Bitcoin went bananas about 2 hours ago, took out 6,900 as well. Now, for those of you that don't know, we have on the easyMarkets platform added Bitcoin. If you can't see it on your MetaTrader 4, just right-click on any currency pair, left-click on Show All. When you scroll down the bottom, that's it in red. it is definitely there. Your Bitcoin levels there, 68.08 now. So it's come back $100 after going bananas this morning. I can see this taking a run to 7,500 by the year end. But look, that's just a small snippet of what we're here to trade. The other markets that are interesting. Oil had a little fizzle out at the 55 level yesterday. So pretty wild volatility hitting that 55 marker and then screaming back to 53.90. The other one I wanted to mention, I missed this trade unfortunately yesterday. I was staring at copper all day leading in and missed this move from 311, taking out 318 yesterday or thereabouts, just under and coming back. The copper rally for mine is one, it's at 315 now. I think this can keep going and get up to 320 or even higher. So don't be afraid if you're not trading stocks or FX to look at the commodity currencies. Not the commodity currencies, the commodities we have on our platform. For example, gold. I've been saying for a while if we get Powell as the new Fed chair, because he's quite dollar neutral, that would lift gold back to 1280. We are there, but where to next on gold is going to be anyone's guess. I would suggest a move back to 1300 is definitely on the cards. And I say the word definitely because I can see a lot of US dollar disappointment potential. That's enough for now. If you need a hand or if you are getting lost with your trading and you want a sharp market update, call the dealing desk here. If you need to find that phone number, you can always go to easymarkets.com.au and roll down all of the Singapore, Australia, New Zealand and other Asia Pac phone numbers are there.